Good morning, Rabbi Sai. Lili Mordechai. Today's shir is sponsored by the Kessler Family, Rafur Shlema, for Aliza Tova, Bas Esther Grunah, the daughter's sister. She's a cancer patient who just was diagnosed with COVID. In honor of Chaim Lichter, our grandson, who has started the Daf Succah with Reb Eli. We're so proud of you, Saba and Grandma, aka Uncle Phil and Aunt Nancy. Where is he? Chaim, get over here! Pshee! Shkoyach! No, you like Succah? It's good? You gonna finish it? Shas? All Shas? You're gonna try. Givaldig. Kol hakavod. Very proud of you. Where's your grandfather? Schlep him over also. Yeah. Yeah. By Abba and Eva Rennert, in honor of Benni and Rosie, Kiki, and Lili, and Rebelli, of course. Shkoyach. Simcha Ezra Valberg. Thank you to Moshe Lachman ESQ for all the advice. Paras HaChodesh by Michael Benmeleh, in memory of his mother Devora Faige, by Shmuel and father-in-law Menachem, Mendel, Elchanan, and married and making the Uman Rosh this year. Shkoyach. Only one person screamed Amen in Lakewood. Gewaldig. Rabbi Sai, we are live in Lakewood. What a Kiddush Hashem. Bemes. Unbelievable. Hold on. You're not gonna believe this. Look at this. Look what's going on over here. It's unreal. Pashut unreal. So, I was born in Lakewood. And I lived there for the first, year or so of my life, 2 years maybe. And on the way here, I thought that we're going to have 10 people because I know about 10 people from Lakewood that are in the shir, so maybe 20. It's mamish, it's tremendous to see what's going on here. I think there are more people here than were maybe in Teaneck, no? And definitely more than in Chicago. That's gewaldig. Unbelievable. Rabbi Sai, I take a lot of pride when people send me these pictures. The Olam is into learning. Derech. Hi, Rebelli. 5-hour flight delay today. No problem. It's geschmack to learn the daf with the Rebelli. His Eishes Chayil took a picture of Shlomo Rosenzweig, who lives in Toronto, on the way to Miami. Here he is, learning steiging the airport. We are right now in the famous cookie corner. It all started because my neighbor downstairs, she is a sister of the Balabasir, and she gave him that famous recipe of the cinnamon bun. He's not going to tell anybody. She's taking all the credit. Is it true they have lines out the door here for some Friday? Okay, wow. It's unbelievable. So it started, we had a little thing going that the oil got together here at Cookie Corner. Be'ez Hashem will continue. If you're part of the Lakewood group, the camaraderie, the chevra, that's what's so unique about the shir. This chevra shaft is unbelievable. And it started, the Lakewood guys started here in Cookie Corner, so that's why we're paying homage. What's the word? Homage to the Cookie Corner. And Yishkoyach to the Baal Basir, Yishkoyach to Aaron Hirsch and Mark and Phil and all the guys who put this thing together. You know who you are. This is by Joel Mizrahi, who put together yesterday's shir in Teaneck, which is also amazing. Over 50 people showed up over there. Rav Eli, come off a week of highs, things, Hashem Yisbarach, son's wedding, anniversary, Thursday night Shever Brachas in Brooklyn, which, by the way, I don't know if you heard about it. Over 300 people attended the Shever Brachas. Also insane. The crazy Chever shop that we have. So Thursday night Shever Brachas in Brooklyn. Then we got a text from Mark Ashkenazi Sunday morning if they can arrange the shir in Teaneck. So Baruch Hashem, they were able to do it in Shari Ora. And the whole night was a high, such a great experience. We have over 50 guys come learn the daf Ba'ahava, mainly from the local Teaneck, Bergenfield, Englewood area, and from other areas like Passaic, Monsey, Queens, Long Island, even Israel, Simon Jacobs. It was an amazing joint effort with several guys from the Chevra trying to secure a place with Uncle Phil, coming early to help set up. And today also he came with Dan Rubinoff. I can't forget that. Dan Rubinoff sponsoring the Chinese food in memory of his grandmother. Okay, and grandfather Mark Ashkenazi, who's right over here. Boys, I say hello to Mark, running the thing. 50 guys enjoying Torah learning with you and whatever. I hope you enjoyed a tiny bit of Sephardic flavor last night. I got home afterwards and I couldn't go to sleep. I was on such a high. It felt great having the MDY share at my home base, but even more so, I couldn't help thinking the Achdus and learning how much closer we're bringing Mashiach and the Geula, Joel Mizrahi. Okay. Rabbi says some of the Olam in you guys not, because we're in Lakewood, but Shalom Aleichem, Rabbi Yisrael, all the way from Borough Park, Gevaldik. Some of the guys in Teaneck didn't know what a Koshikla was. So I took the privilege to, here's a picture. I was going to show this picture and tell them this is what it is. But I figured that the smart... All right. Beseder. So we have a long daf here. Again, very technical. A lot of halachas about aravas and etc. and the arba minim, technical stuff. And we are holding Daf Lamed Gimel and Beis by the Gemara. Hanra Bonon. We have a big choshev guest there, Rabbi Gronã, who I had an opportunity to meet by the Sheva Brachas. He told me that his dream was, I don't know if it's true, maybe he wanted to make me feel good, his dream was to come to meet me in Eretz Yisrael, and that I did him a big favor, that he didn't have to take his whole, whatever, this whole machine with him on the plane, and he came to meet me in Borough Park. He showed me his choshev van that he has. I'm happy you're here. Thanks for being with us tonight. Yishkoyach. He came all the way from Lakewood to Brooklyn. It's unbelievable. All right. Yishkoyach for the guys, the driver, helper, the whole zach. Chavrusa didn't come tonight. Okay. Givaldi. Torah about it. He's on his way. He's coming. Okay, good. I hope he's on time with you. Torah Rabbanon. Arvei Nachal. It says in the pasuk, Arvei Nachal. Nachal is a stream. So arava, whatever this arava is, grows on the stream. Hagdelim al Nachal. Grows on the stream. Dovar acher. Arvei Nachal. She'olah shelo moshoch kenachal. So it's very interesting that Rashi says over here that since the pasuk says that it grows on the stream, now the pasuk pshat is you learn the Gemara. You say, okay, it's the type of arava that grows in the stream, but it doesn't have to grow in the stream. It's that family of arava. So that's what we do today. We buy aravas. But Rashi says there is a bigger mitzvah to use aravas that grow on the stream. So of course, those guys that sell those aravas, instead of $1, cost $2 or whatever, instead of 2, it's 4. And they come up with all the poskim that say you should, it's a chiyuv gomer to use. But there is an inyan to use aravas that grow literally on the stream, on the brook. As I said, Rashi. Dovar acher, arvei nachal sholosh shalom moshoch kanachal. So you have arava. This is the leaf of the arava. It looks like a stream. It goes nice, long, straight. It's narrow and long. That's the shape of the arava. Oh, by the way, I forgot to tell you. So today there's, I think, 30 pictures, maybe more. There's supposed to be 37. I took out the final 7 here. Not the final, but I took out all these guys. So we narrowed it down to only 30 pictures. And I only made maybe 3 out of the 30. The rest are from Kol Halashon. Zog the Gemara. Tanya Yidach, Arvei Nachal, Ein Li Elo Arvei Nachal, Shel Baal v'Shel Horim Minayin. So how do we know that we can use other types of aravas? The same arava that comes from Baal, from a place called Baal and Horim. Loimar, Arvei Nachal Mikol Mokoim. It could be from everywhere. And over here, where Rashi says that it's better, l'mitzvah, that should be from a Nachal. It's Kedai. Top of Lamed Aleph and Amud Aleph. Abba Shol Loimer, Arvei Shtayim. Arvei is plural, and I learned from it something else. Achas lelulav, va'achas lemigdash. Yes, there's one arava that we use together with the lulav and the esrog, but there's one that we use for the mizbeach on Succah, and we go around the mizbeach with aravas. Those are the 2 aravas. So let me ask you, according to Abba Shol, how many aravas do you put in your lulav? Arvei doesn't come to say 2. Arvei says there's 2 types of aravas, one for the mizbeach and one for the lulav. So it comes out that according to Abba Shaul, you only use one arava. We're going to see the shita on Amud Beis. That's Rebbe Kiva. You only need one arava. We don't pass it like that. Rabbanon lamigdash minalu. How do Rabbanon know this idea of an arava by the mizbeach? It's not from the pasuk. It's halacha l'Moshe Sinai. Devora Faige, Omer Rabbi Yochanan, Esther nitiyos, arava, v'nisuch hamayim, halacha l'Moshe Sinai. There are three things, like we learned, mechitzin, shiurin. Those are one set of things that halacha l'Moshe Sinai. Here's another set. Esther nitiyos, arava of the Beis Hamikdash, not the arava that we use in the lulav, because that's from the pasuk. V'nisuch hamayim. So we have a picture here. Esther nitiyos goes like this. Esther nitiyos tells us that, Rabbi say, this, if you came just for this, it's unbelievable. You know what I chap today? As I'm learning this. Today is Rosh Chodesh Elul. Was, just an hour ago. How many days are we before Rosh Hashanah? Like, came out 30 days before Rosh Hashanah. It's unbelievable. This halacha applies to today, not stam today, once in 7 years. 30 days before Rosh Hashanah is Esther Nitiyos. How? I'm learning, I couldn't believe it. What a coincidence. There's no coincidences. Again, the Daf is talking to us. Esther Nitiyos. What's the halacha? Before Shemitah, this is a year of Shemitah. You have to stop plowing the fields. There's a suffer, just like on Yom Kippur and Rosh Hashanah. Someone has to take a picture. Boys, I can't just do. They're going to start leaving soon. Rosh Hashanah, Yom Kippur, before, after Shabbos, you have to be Mosef, Mechal al-Kodesh. You have to be Mosef for Shemitah also. You cannot plow the field. Nah, shvacha picture. You have to come over here. Let me teach you how to do it. Stand over here behind me, and then you get everybody in there. You missed Rabbi Gronã. You missed the whole thing. Okay. So, Nachamal. Don't pay attention now. So we have to be Mosef how many? 30 days. 30 days. Today, you have to stop, or yesterday, whatever, Baruch. But once, it only happens every 7 years. Today. It's not stam once a year. Every 7 years, boom, today. So today, we're allowed to plow the fields when you have Esther Nitiyos in a saw. In other words, every 10th of a saw, you're allowed to plow one tree. If you have 10 trees in a saw, which is 50 by 50 amma, you see? 50. This I did myself. This is one of the only charts. 50 by 50. You have 10 trees here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You're allowed to plow. Let's pretend these are food trees. You're allowed to plow the field 30 days before Rosh Hashanah, which is today. Erev Shemitah. It's incredible. Mamish incredible. I'm going to ask you to look at the other shiurim if anybody chapped that. They're not going to chap that. Okay. Unless they listen to this and they hear that. Fine. You have what's going on here. So, but I'm just saying that if you have 2 trees and they take up 2/10 of a saw, you could also plow them. Why are you allowed to do this? Because they're baby trees. We're worried they're going to die. We give them a dispensation. It's a special heter for baby trees, netiyos. If they're mature trees, you cannot plow them because of the soisafa of Shemitah 30 days before Shemitah. Okay, not our sugya. I just wanted to tell you what it is. Arava, we said, nisuch hamayim. I don't know why it's not in order here. I got to find it for you because this also I printed out from a different place. Okay. If I don't find it now, we'll find it later and I'll have to show it to you a different time. No, not here. Nisuch hamayim basically is, we know what it is, but on Sukkot, there it is. On Sukkot, the Chaim goes onto the Mizbeach and he pours water into one of these holes. There's 2 holes, one for wine, one for water, pours it into the hole. Nisuch hamayim only on Sukkot, every day of Sukkot. That's halacha, the Moshe Sinai. So if you're asking me where do I know that you take our rabbi, you go around the Mizbeach with it? Halacha, the Moshe Sinai. Tana Rabbana. Arve nachal agdelus ala nachal. Again, there has to be an arava that grows on a stream. Prat letzaftzafah. Hagdela bein harim. There's another type of plant, tree, called the tzaftzafah. You cannot use that. Amar Abzeri Mikro, what do you see in the pasuk? Koch al mayim rabim tzaftzefo somoy. So Gemara understands it as two parts of the pasuk. Koch al mayim rabim. I wanted you to be part of this mayim rabim, this plentiful water. And what did you do? So it's kama tzaftzefo somoy. Instead of becoming an arava that's plentiful or whatever, you became a tzaftzefo. Because Baruch was upset. It's a teichacha in Cheskel. Baruch was saying, "Why? I told you to be a mayim rabim and arava. I told you to be an arava. Instead, you want to be a tzaftzefo." The bottom line is, you see that tzaftzefo is not kosher for a lulav. It's not an arava. I told you to be an arava. Instead, you decided to be a tzaftzefo. Who told you how to read the pasuk? Maybe there's no comma. Maybe the way you read the pasuk is kacha mayim rabim. I told you to go to where the water is plentiful, to the stream, and tzaftzefo samay, you should become a tzaftzefo. Maybe that's what Hakadosh Baruch Hu said. Be a tzaftzefo. Who said Hakadosh Baruch Hu said to be an arava? Umayni tzaftzefo. Imkein may samay. Then why does it say in the pasuk samay? It should just say kacha mayim rabim tzaftzefo. Go to the plentiful water, become a tzaftzefo. Samay means instead of listening to me, you put yourself and became a tzaftzefo. So that's something else. So you see, the pasuk is talking about two different things. It starts off with an arava, goes to tzaftzefo. So arava and tzaftzefo is not the same thing. You're not yoytze with the tzaftzefo. Omer Bavo, Omer Kosh Baruch Hu, Ani Omarti Shi Yisrael Lefoneki Kachal Mayim Rabim. I said that they should be like Kachal Mayim Rabim, like an arava. Umayniu arava. What's going on here? So I saw Rabbi Yitzchak Elchanan says a beautiful pshat here. He says, it's neget to us. And it's neget to Lakewood. Givaldik. He says that arava, why does HaKadosh Baruch Hu want us to be an arava? Arava is like, look at this. He wants us to be like this. It's not a we could have been an esrog, we could have been a hadas that has peros to it. Instead, he picks an arava. What's pshat? He says arava resembles amaratzim. Amaratzim, people are not such learned people. So what should they do? They should live in a Makam Torah. They should live in Lakewood. They should live in a Makam Torah where there's other Talmidei Chachamim. What did they do? They decided tzaftzefo samay. They went to the mountains. They went to Switzerland. They went to the Geshmaka places where there's no Torah. That's the taina. Okay, it's okay that you're Am Haaretz, but at least associate yourself with Talmidei Chachamim. Yeah. So there's a lot of people that are not so learned, and you know what they do? I know people. They live on the beach and in all sorts of places, but today. I'm not saying it's okay 100%, but it's a lot better than not doing it. They associate themselves with Torah through the internet. I'm just... They join the shir. They're part of a chevra. I'm serious. They're part of a chevra. They're part of... They're not tzaftzefah. They don't stam live over there. Wherever they are, they're part of Torah. Maskul Reb Zera. V'dilma Perusha Gam Mefarish. Oh, did I skip? Yeah. Some say that it's the same thing basically. They took the positive, they put it on the brace. Fine. Okay. Turn around, Bono. Ezu arova vezu tzavtzefah. How could you tell the difference? Arova kana shelo adam. Arova has a red branch. V'ala shelo moshuch. And that we had before the picture of the olam moshuch. Like this. It's narrow and long. Upia cholak, and it's nice and doesn't have jagged edges. So you're going to ask, today's arava is a little jaggedy? Okay. Tzaftzefah kona shelo lavan. Here's a tzaftzefah. What they decided is a tzaftzefah. V'ala shelo agal. and the leaf is roundish. Upia doimel magel, and the teeth are similar to that of a sickle. Now, Votanya doimel magel kosher doimel maser posel. So here you go, not from Kol Lashon. Here you see, this is a magel, this is a sickle, and the teeth are on an angle, and they're usually on an angle towards the handle. So you cut the wheat it's in one motion. You don't go back and forth with a magel. You grab, when you pull it toward yourself, it cuts the wheat. But a saw, it looks like a mountain. In other words, it's sharp and it cuts on both directions. That's a maser. Maser goes up and down. So Gemara asks, it says that doimel magel is kosher. You just told me that a tzaftzafo, which is puzzle, is doimel magel. It's puzzle. Magel is puzzle. This sickle guy, anything that has teeth like this, is puzzle. Now, if you take a look at this picture, this is kosher, but we said that tzaftzafo is puzzle because it has teeth like this. I don't know if this is a good picture. There's a good one over here. Here. Very good. He shows in this picture how it has jagged edges in one direction. The tzaftzafo. Okay. Doimel magel. Doimel magel pasur. Orabai kitanyahi bechilfa gila. So this is very interesting. This answers the question. This is la halach l'maisa. There's a arava called chilfa gila, and it has a little bit of a jagged edge. And it's okay, because it has 2 out of the 3 simanim, so it has jagged edge. It's not the end of the world. Omar Abayo. So therefore today we're not so makbid on the little bit of a jaggedy thing. Omar Abayo shmami no chilfa gila kosher l'ishana. So it comes out the chilfa is good for ishana. Pshita, why not? Same sugi like we had the other day. The same hoyel vislishem levai. It's not called Arav. It's called chilfa gila. Has a different name. Lo is kasher. Kamash malon. Veimachinami. Maybe it shouldn't be kosher. Avinachal omer achmona. Anything that grows on the stream, mikol makoim. Great. Anyways, the myself, we could be makbid maybe on one thing. I'm just for myself. If I remember, Beis Hashem, I'll try to find Aravas that grow on the stream. Says right. I never knew that we have to be makbid so much on it. I saw the guys and they're trying to, I thought it's another ripoff. It's a scheme. The guy wanted to, brought this rishon and that rishon, and you have to do it, and he charged. What does that rubber cost already? $1. So you pay $2. You get a better. It's more like chatchila. Zog the Gemara. Omer Rav Chizda. Hanet las mili ishtanish mayu mikichora beis hamikdash. There are 3 things that the name changed from the Churban Habayis. Chalafta arafta. It started out being called a chalafta, a chiluv, and they called it arava. Arava, arafta, chalafta. Might have kimina. You can't take a chalafta if it's not arafta. You can't take a rafta if it's not. Bekitzer, it has to be an arava, what we know as arava. Call it whatever you want. You can call it chalafta, as long as it's arava. But if the name switched and they call a chalafta arafta, you cannot take it. You can't use an arava if it's really a chalafta. Also, shipura chatzitzarta. Instead of a shofar, they called it a chatzitzra, which is straight, a trumpet, a straight trumpet. Chatzarta, shipura, might have kimina, the shofar is a roshana, you have to know what to take. The shofar roshana has to have a little bit of a bend to it. Psarta, psura, they're talking about a large table, a small table, psura, psurta. They change from large to small, from small to large. If I go to the store and I say, I'm giving you $100 to buy a psurta, and I thought it's a large table, and the guy gives me a small table, it's gneva. He has to give me back my money or give me a larger table. There's other things. Beikasi huvlilo. Huvlilo beikasi. So, here's a nice picture of doimel masor, which the jaggedy edges are not in any direction. They're pretty equal over here. Okay. So, from Rabbi Avram Weisfish, our in-house shoichet, he sent me this picture today. It's actually better than what we had in the books. Beis HaKosos is one of the 4 compartments of the stomach. It's amazing. When we did the shechita, we did a live shechita in MDY by the Mechaber Sefer of Sichas Chulin. He's amazing, Rabbi David. It took hours for him to explain, but if you look at this, it's incredible, the design HaKadosh Baruch Hu made here. And it's called Beis HaKosos. It looks like a bunch of cups, and the food goes in there. So if you find a machat, a nail, inside the Beis HaKosos, it depends. If it's one of them, I forgot the Beis Hemses is thicker, it has 2 skins, 1 skin, so if it pokes through a little bit, the shaila is, did it poke through completely because it has double skin or not? Depends what it's called. Huvlila Beikasi turned to Huvlila Beikasi. Great. Once we're talking about this, I'll throw in a great tidbit fact that we learned in Chulin. Had nothing to do with anything, but I remember I was fascinated by this idea that a baby calf, you remember this? You were this in Chulin? No. Anybody here from Chulin? Just has nothing to do with Masechet Succah, but I thought it's fascinating. If a baby calf, nurses from her mother, drinks milk, and it would go into the Beis HaKosos, so the Beis HaKosos, or whatever it is, would destroy the milk. It would have 0 nourishment. So how do you avoid it? How does a baby drink milk and get nourishment from it? Baruch Hu did a trick that when it drinks milk, and only when it's a baby, it bypasses the Beis HaKosos. There's a valve, and it doesn't even go through the 4 stomachs. It skips everything, and it goes into another part of the stomach, and it gets nutrients from it. Otherwise, if it went through this very harsh filtration system, it'll get nothing out of it. And then later on, when it grows up, that valve closes, whatever. Just very pelvic gizach. Anyway, so the Gemara. L'may nafkimino. Gemara says, what's the nafkimino? L'machat hanimtza b'oivi Beis HaKosos. If you find a machat in Beis HaKosos, you have to know which one it is. If it's the one with the 2 walls, so just because you find the machat in one wall doesn't mean it went through and through. And if not. So we have to know which one it is. Omar Rava bar Rav Yosef. Omar Rava bar Yosef. I have another one. You start off with 3, now we have 4, now I have a 5th one. It used to be Bavel, and they changed it to Barsif. The Barsif Bavel, L'may nafkimino, Daf Amud Beis, sponsored by the MDY Tehillim Group. For all those who need Shidduchim, Refuahs, and Shuas, please join Tehillim.com. So L'may nafkimino. Nafkimino says the Gemara legite noshim. So anybody who learned Gita knows you have to say, when you bring a get, you say b'fonei nechtam to make sure that it's done l'shma, and that if anybody's ma'ar on the get, the person is mekayim the get. So if it's in Bavel, Eretz Yisrael in Bavel, you don't need to say b'fonei nechtam. You have enough people going back and forth from Bavel. All the learners come back and forth. So the question is the place Bursif, is it Bavel? Do you have to say b'fonei nechtam? Does it have halach of Bavel or not? Did it change from Bavel to Bursif? Is Bursif to Bavel? That is the nafkimino. The official Mishnah, sponsored by official for Shlema, for Avram Yosef ben Chano. Says the Mishnah, Reb Shmuel Oimer, Shloisha hadasim ushtei aravos. That's what we do today, right? We have 3 hadasim and 2 aravos. Lulav echad, vesreg echad. 1 lulav, 1 esreg, 3 hadasim, 2 aravos. Afilu shnayim ktumim vechodeini kotum. So Rabbi Shmuel says 2 out of the 3 could be chopped off on the top, and 1 not. The Gemara takes it back right away, and Rashi, shloike darker so much, goes into the whole kasha and tears of the Gemara because he's barbarning. Don't worry about it. You might have a kasha; it doesn't make any sense. If this hadar, if there's a chiv hadar, so you should have 3 good hadasim. If there's no chiv hadar, you don't need any hadasim. All of them can be ketumim. It bothered him so much, he didn't want you to wait for the Gemara. He tells you the whole Kash and Teretz in the Rashi. Fine. Reb Tarfon Oimer, afilu shloshim ktumim. Why? Reb Tarfon holds you don't need hadar when it comes to hadas. Very interesting. Dafka hadas. Hadas doesn't need hadar. Maybe a lulav does need because it's similar to esrog, but a das not. So afilu shloshim ktumim, you have 3 hadasim chopped off on the top. It doesn't matter. Taisus goes to point out that even according to Rabbi Tarfon, it would be a good idea for someone to take hadasim that are not katan. Why? Zekeli van veyu should have nicer mitzvahs. Rabbi Akiva oimer kishem shelu vechod vesro legechod kach hadas echod v'arova achas. Unbelievable. To me, it's amazing that we don't pass like Rabbi Akiva. We usually do 1 lulav, 1 esrog, 1 hadas, 1 arava. Tanya Rabbi Shmuel oimer pri eitz hadar echad. It's 3 words. So Taisus says, I'm asking the question that's 3 words because in a second we're going to use 3 words to learn that you need 3 hadasim. So why is it by a esrog that has 3 words? We don't say you need 3 esrogim, which would be very, very expensive. So pri eitz hadar. Taisus says because we already learned from each word a limud, and we're not left with any extra words, and Menachem we're left with 1 esrog. Kapois tmarim echad. Again, because kapois, it doesn't say with a vav. We read it plural, but it says it's singular. Kapas. So Menachem, I learned from here 1 lulav. Anaf eitz avos, 3 words. Shloisha. You need 3 hadasim. Arvei nochal. 2 shtayim. So now it's kedai to jump to Taisus for a second. Taisus dira maskal arvi nachal shtayim. Afilu noisen kama hadasim v'kama aroves belulav ein ze bal Taisus. If you ever wondered why some rebbes they have 30 hadasim, 68 hadasim, maybe it's from here. Afilu noisen kama hadasim kama aroves belulav ein ze bal Taisus. Even if you hold, you have to bundle it together, you have to tie it together. The Baal Toisev is only if you add another, something else, like a red bow or something. But if you add more hadasim than necessary, then it's okay. According to the Rambam, it's usher to be moisef more aravas. It could be moisef more hadasim. The Shari Tshuva brings from the Go'onim, he says the Go'onim used to use 68 hadasim, Keminyan lulav, which is 68. By the way, Chaim is also 68. Chaim, lulav, I saw pshat that the lulav that's yavesh doesn't have life. The kids, okay, fine. But the Shulchan Aruch and the Arizal, they say, the Shulchan Aruch says, and the Arizal, Kabbalah, you should not be moisef any hadasim. 3 and only 3. So exactly why some rebbes and this and that do, they haven't who to be saimech, the Rishonim, the Goinim, 68, and maybe the rebbes do 68. Anybody know? I saw a lot of hadasim. I don't know how many. A lot. But according to the Shulchan Aruch and the Arizal, there's no Inyan. You shouldn't. Fakert. It's not very good to be moisef. So that's what I do. Everybody in their own thing. I'm just explaining why there are different minhagim. And according to what Taisus says, there's no Isser of Baal Toisev when it comes to using more hadasim. And the Rambam says it is a problem in aravas. Definitely don't put more aravas. Zog the Gemara. Eli, that's what I was writing in the car. In case you're wondering. Zog the Gemara. But you drove very smooth. It came out okay. Says the Gemara, Yishkach for the ride. Where am I? Omar loy. Yeah, is that where we are? No. Shloishav afilu shloshim ktumim. Reb Tavin oimer shloishav afilu shloshim ktumim, even if the 3 of them are chopped on the top. Reb Akiva oimer keshem shelu levechad vesru echad kachadas echad v'arobachas. We had this in the Mishnah. 1, 1, 1, and 1. Omar loy. They take out Omar loy, I believe, because it has no connection to the line before. Omar Rebbe Eliezer. That makes more sense, Taka. Omar Rebbe Eliezer. Perhaps I would think that all 4 minim should be in one bundle. Amarta v'chinemar pri eitz hadar v'kapis tmarim. Here's the pasuk. There's no vav amoisiv over here. Pre-Eitzad is by itself. Then it says kapos tmorim. You take a lulav ve anaf eitzavos ve arvei rochal. So the anaf eitzavos, the adasim and the aravos are in addition to the lulav in green. But there's no vav that connects the pre-Eitzad and the kapos tmorim. So Menmeleh doesn't belong in one bundle. How do I know that I don't have all four? I only have three. I'm not yoitza. You think 3 is also good. 3, I did 3/4 of the mitzvah. Or I did 3 mitzvahs out of the 4 mitzvahs. Maybe there's 4 mitzvahs and I did 3 mitzvahs. No. They ma'akiv one another. They say it doesn't necessarily mean you have to pick all 4 up in the same second like we do. Maybe if you do one at a time, it's also okay, but you need all 4. Makvin says, we have this throughout Shas. Tem is shtei lekicha tama. That should be a complete lekicha, a whole lekicha. And it's not whole if you don't have all 4. Rabbi Shmuel Monev Shach. The Gemara has the kasha that Rashi points out in the Mishnah. Ish leimim boi. In other words, if you need hadar, liboy nami kulu. So then all 3 should have to be hadar. And if you don't need hadar, then why do you need 1 out of the 3 to be complete? Just have 3 cut off hadasim. What's the problem? Omar Bira, the name of a chacham. Omar Rabami, Chaza by Rabbi Shmuel. You are right. He took it back. You don't need any. They could all 3 be kotum. Omer Rav Yehuda, Omer Shmuel, Halacha ki Rabbi Tarfon. So the halacha is that you could use hadasim that are snipped off on the top. So it's great, no? What comes the Ramah for the Ashkenazim at least, and he says that lechatchila you should buy whole hadasim. So it's not such a heter. You want to go like the Ramah, and we want to do lechatchila. Again, you wouldn't be very happy if your Sienna minivan had a shtickle niktam on the top. You'd probably bring it into the shop. So why is it when it comes to hadasim you're looking for a terim? Okay, so we're going to be makbid on. I don't know anybody that comes to shul with a niktam hadas, even though the Gemara says mefurish, the Allah is like your tarvin, it's okay. We're makbid. V'ozdo shmuel tamei do'amalu shmuel lahanu demizavne aso. Shmuel told, I'm telling you, nothing changed in the last 2,000 years. It's the same soichrim that sell the dalminim that we have today that we had 2,000 years ago. Shmuel tells the dalminim soichrim, ashvu v'zabinu. You have to level out your prices. You have to make sure you don't get the people. You don't raise the prices. Nice prices. V'loi, and he threatened them. Eli, if you raise your prices and you make it unaffordable, I am going to announce in public that Allah is like Rabbi Tarfin. Do not be makbid on kotum by hadasim that the top is snipped off, and then you'll see the price will drop. You lose money. Says the Gemara, my taima ilema mishum de mekel. If Shmuel holds Likula, the Mekel Tfei, if he's trying to threaten them, say there's a better threat, and that is like Rebbe Kiva. You don't even need 3 hadasim, 1 is enough. So why should he threaten them with a threat and say, buy 3 hadasim that are snipped off on the top, and that's okay, and the prices will drop. I have a better way to drop the prices even further. All you need is 1 hadas. You don't even need 3. What's the simple answer? It's a lot easier to find 3 damaged hadasim than 1 whole hadas without kotum. Zog the Heilige Mishnah, official Mishnah, sponsored by official Rafur Shleim for Braina Basienta Devora, somebody else. Esrei got Gazel. So this is the fourth min. We learned this 3 times already. Esrei got Gazel. If it's stolen, it's not Shalochem. Hayovesh, Pasul. If it's dried up. What am I looking at here? Okay, you know what? Oh, Yovesh. Esrei got Yovesh. Everybody has one of these before Pesach in the closet. Again, if it's a esrog that somebody worshipped Avodah Zarah, or it's in a city of Avodah Zarah that 51% are Oved Avodah Zarah, and you have to burn down the city and everything in it. So Menachem, the esrog doesn't have a shear because it loses the shear. And if it loses the shear, then you don't have the minimum shear. What's the minimum shear? Yeah, we're good. What's the minimum shear? Either ke'egois or kebeitza. You don't even have that. Yes, it's huge. It's Reb Chaim Kanievsky's in the pictures esrog, but halachically it doesn't have a shear. Shalar la apostle. If it's a tree that's less than 3 years old, it's also ba'ana. The Gemara is going to explain. So what if it's also ba'ana? Still can't use it for esrog. Shel truma tmeya apostle. Ooh, I forgot to print the famous truma chart, but most of you already know about that. It's kedai to show it anyways. If I had it, I would show it. Truma. When you have produce, you have 100 apples, or let's call it grapes. You have to give 2%, let's say berech, 2% to the kohen. If it's tahar, lo yita, you shouldn't use the esrog from truma. Vim not al kosher. If you did it anyways, kosher. Shel demai, if you buy fruit from an amoretz, from an amoritz, vishamai poislim ubisil machshirim. They still say it's okay. It's only a suffix that they weren't musar, so it's okay. Shel meiser sheni b'Yerushalayim lo yito. Meiser sheni, 4 out of the 7 years, you have to give yourself 10%. Meaning you have to take off 10% of the produce that you have and bring it to Yerushalayim. And if you don't want to schlep it, you change it into money. So now the money turns into 10% of all your produce, 10% turns into Meiser Sheni money. You take the cash, you bring it up to Yerushalayim, and once in Yerushalayim, you buy food with that money. So he says, okay, I could buy food. I'm going to buy esrog. Esrog is a food. No, you cannot buy an esrog with your Meiser Sheni money. Don't be a chacham. You have to pay money for your esrog. We'll see why. Shel Meiser Sheni b'Yerushalayim lo yito. In Yerushalayim, you're in the right place. Lo yito. You're not a kosher. But if you're over, it's kosher. Also, chazazes al ruboy. Interesting. Where's chazazes? I know it's here. Chazazes are little babuos. How you say them? The little boils. Here you go. Wow. The number's out of order. I don't know why. 459. Okay. Chazazes. Here you go. Bunch of boils. Maybe it's a different. No, this is chazazes al mi'utoy. That's why. Nah, it wasn't printed well. Good. It's in order. So this is mi'utoy. Chazazes haruboy. Just take this picture and stretch out these boils. Nitla pitmasoy. Oh, what happens if the pitim, a bunch of shitas here. What's nitla pitmasoy exactly? I took out half the shitas. The bottom line, we know what a pitim is. According to most Rishonim, this is the pitim, the top part. Does it include the stem? Did it take part? If it took part of the basar, then for sure, nitla pitmasoy. Now, it's possible. So we cannot go by this Mishnah without saying the famous Maisa, which I forgot who it's already attributed to. Everybody says it, but everybody knows the Maisa, but we have to say it anyway. So there's a Grosser Rebbe, and I got emails afterwards that yes, it's my great-grandfather. It happened to my great-grandfather. Fine. You'll know what I'm talking about in a second. So he couldn't afford an esrog. And he had a pair of tefillin that he got b'Yerusha. And they didn't have any food. Very, very poor. And Lamaisa, he couldn't be sold with the fact that he doesn't have esrog. So he sold his pair of tefillin and he bought an esrog. And when his wife found out about it, I saw today the story is printed completely different because whoever wrote the story didn't like this part of the story. But it's true, so we have to say it anyway. She took the esrog and she threw the esrog and broke the pitim. She passed up the esrog. And the Rebbe said, tefillin I don't have. The esrog I don't have. I'm going to get mad. I'm going to have kas also. So he wasn't koyas. He wasn't upset at all. And his father came to him Chaim and said, you should know that the fact that you were misgaber on your kas, HaKadosh Baruch Hu liked that a lot more than the fact that you sold your tefillin for an esrog. And after I said the story last time, somebody wrote me an email that they bought the tefillin back. It's in the family now. It's in that Rebbe's family. They found the tefillin and they have it back in the family. I forgot already which Rebbe it is. It's a beautiful ma'isa. Okay. Another ma'isa that happened with me in Eretz Yisrael. I had the nicest esrog I ever had in my life. A gorgeous esrog. It was a chazanish esrog because I'm not going to chazanish. But it didn't have the funny shape of the chazanish esrog. It had the giddle, it had a gartel, and it had a pitim. I hardly ever have, because if you know chazanish esrog, you don't have pitim. Had a pitim. And I made the bracha, I said the thing, and as I was putting it back, it fell out of my hand, and the pitim broke. And everybody in shul, because I sit kind of like 3 benches from the front, everybody saw it. So I didn't know what to do. It was, don't take any aids from me. But because it happened, I was like, bebusha azah. And I learned when I was younger the Succah. So I took a bite out of the esrog, because I always wanted to eat my esrog. It says, like on the second day Yontev, you could bite out of the esrog and use it. So I bit my esrog in middle shul. It's disgusting. Don't ever try it. I figured if it already broke, I could already make that other shtick. Okay, some people started laughing, some people laughed. Okay. Fine, next. Nizdak, nidla pitmasoi. So if the pitim fell off, niklaf. We have another picture. Some Rishonim want to learn in Taisvus. We have this shita that it's the oikets, but we're going to go with Rashi that this is the oikets he holds is the pitim. Niklaf. So, the top layer got peeled off. Okay, there's a machlokes rishonim if the psul niklaf is some of it or in different places. But anyways, it peeled off. Nizdak is literally split. Nizdak. Nikav v'chaser kolshehu. Over here you have a hole. And a little bit of it is missing. That's why they're very careful when you remove like a little bit of a black dot, and people don't want black dots, not bletlav, but a black dot could be a menumer, so they use like a toothpick or they use something, and sometimes they don't pay attention. You take off a little bit of the skin with it, and then the next day it turns color. That could be a problem of nikav, a chaser kolshu, apostle. All those are apostle. Also, so now we have, going back to that picture of the boils only on a partial part. Wow, it was a long time ago. Here we go. Al miyutoi. Nital uktzoi, or the bottom part came off, the oikets, this guy. Nikav v'loy chaser kolshu. A little bit of something came off, but nothing. It had a little hole, let's say I think we might have a picture here, yes. A little, tiny little pin went in there, but nothing is missing from the esrog. It weighs the same amount now as it did before, but a little bit of a hole. Kosher. Esrog akushi apostle. Interesting that Rashi says, it's not stam, a black esrog, but he says it grows in Kush. It grows in Africa. Don't know why. Shabbat meretz kush v'shacharu tartillery usa vayarik karti mamish green. In brachas we said yarik means this. No, yellow. But over here yellow wouldn't pass. So yarik means green like in Hebrew. Yarik karti. Interesting. As we said over there, also Yor Kikarti. It's also Kikarti, it's a different color, I think. Fine, I have to look into it. Remeir Machsher, Rabbi Yehuda Poisel. So the Machlokes, whether or not this green is kosher or not, already explained before when we were learning it. A lot of times the ester comes out green and we can make it yellow. That's because it just needs to ripen up afterwards. But this one is too immature. It's not fully grown, and that's why it's green, and it's not going to change into yellow, and therefore Rabbi Yehuda apostles. Shir Esrog HaKatan, we had this already in the Gemara, but here it is in the Mishnah. How large does an esrog have to be? Reb Meir Oimer ke'ego is like a walnut. Reb Yehuda Oimer ke'beitza, like an egg. Uba gadoil, and a large one. Kedei she'oich shnayim biyodei achas. Two esrogim in one hand. Divrei Reb Yehuda. Reb Yosi Oimer afilu echad b'shtei yodav. So we had the other day. I forgot his first name, Rabbi Sittner. He said that he went there, he slept out by the Letterman all night. Imagine sleeping on a Letterman chair. To sit through Shachars is a big problem. I've been there a number of times. To sleep there all night to see Reb Chaim Kanevsky. So I thought it was very interesting. He had a picture of Chaim Kanevsky holding one of these esrogim. So he wrote me an email right away afterwards. He said, I just want a disclaimer. Reb Chaim Kanevsky didn't make a brach on that esrog. Because I said, oh, it's interesting because it seems like it's not so oiskalten from the Mishnah over here. Rosie says, "Afilu echad b'shtei yodav," but according to Rabbi Yehuda, it's possible. So he said, no. Reb Chaim just took that, and in addition, he took 10 other esrogim. He chopped a picture when he's holding that esrog, but the bracha he made on a completely different esrog. It's a good thing he wrote me that email. Rabbi Isai, yishkoich for coming out. It's tremendous chizuk. Have a wonderful evening, day. Is that you, David Zlatnik? What are you doing here? Unbelievable. Gee.